Hello everyone, this will be a very quick video and this is a requested video from my colleagues of development studies, and abhi I will be asking you that please share the link among the groups that you are associated with because I'm no more in the groups and I'm also left with the examination, so I would just prefer you to refer to those people who asked for help. So basically it's about the format of the dissertation that you're talking about, which comes within the second year, and according to the university like IGNOU or Open University, where dissertation covers 2 credits, I mean the 2 paper they cover in one. So thereafter dissertation format is very important. Please follow the brochure for the format. Apart from that, you should have the the front cover, and then you should have the cover where you will be having a declaration or rather acceptance of your supervisor providing you with the certificate that this is an original piece of work that has been done under his supervision, his or her supervision. And thereafter it will be followed with declaration of yours with acknowledging that you have done this with full attention and all. And thereafter you can also acknowledge or thank people. Acknowledgement and declaration of yours should hold your signature in both the papers. The certificate that your supervisor will be providing you, he will be also providing you with the signature. So the first one is the cover paper. Try to make it hard bound, and if you provide online, as I was made online submission because of my eye problem that time, and thereafter if you do online submission, it will be easiest procedure, but never submit in both the ways. Okay, get associated with the regional center that what is the format you should follow, because if you submit your dissertation to the regional center, there must be some of the options like how many dissertation copies you need to follow, whether it should be hardbound or spiral binding, and all those things are there. Okay, so the very front page will be in that format, and then the certificate from your supervisor. Thirdly, the declaration of your part. Fourthly, the acknowledgement. Declaration and acknowledgement will hold your signature. Certificate will be holding your supervisor's signature. Then comes the table of contents. Now, the question is, before going for the dissertation, you have to approach to a particular supervisor, go through the subjects or the subject matters which is associated with your genre of work. Like I did work on women trafficking, and how the trafficked women transversed from victim to that of a criminal path, because I also worked with UK organization who rehabilitated women who got trafficked. So thereafter I had both pilot survey as well as the surveys that were based on review of literature. Now firstly, you have to choose that who is the supervisor who can accept your research proposal. How will you draft your research proposal? It should hold an introduction of your background, that from where you have come, what were your last experiences of work or education, and why you have joined this genre of education. Okay, because it's an online mode of education that you have opted for. And thereafter, the first part, you will have to give a synopsis, a summary, kind of a preface to your subject, where you will be saying that what you are trying to find out through your project. That is the objective. If you take objective and hypothesis both, difference between objective and hypothesis is, hypothesis means you're assuming something, it's an assumption. And when you're taking an assumption, if you're a student of sociology, statistics, or any form of mathematical department, thereafter you have to make sure that you prove the hypothesis through chi-square or standard deviation or dispersion, that whether it's a null hypothesis or an alternative hypothesis. Okay, and thereafter either you choose objective, which is directly aimed, not more than 4. Narrow down your subject, because this is the master's program. If you would have done a dissertation of PhD or MPhil, that would have been having a gamut of broader genre. But if you're doing a work for a master's project, then narrow down your work. Like for example, if you take a topic like during the time of COVID-19, the education system became digital, quite digital. It's always an open paper examination. So what happened to the recruitment system during that period of time? Because it hugely affected the recruitment system. The people who did score very, very high. Just imagine English literature 100 out of 100, if not even mistaken a punctuation. That cannot be happening, right? So thereafter, they faced that problem when they went with highest marks rather, but with a loophole that they did it with the open book examination. So sometimes privileges can also turn into the bane. Okay, so you can take up topics like, during the time of digitization, when women are hardly getting anticipated with the education system in the rural areas, how the dropout level affected, whether the dropout level really affected for the women or for the men when it became digital, because they must not even have a particular smartphone to work on. So how will they do the online classes? So these are the topic that you can go for. You can also go for domestic labor. The topic that I did, I also worked on women entrepreneurship. I worked on industrial relationship. Development sector hugely talks about industrial relationship, and it's very, very important, because during my graduation, I took the time, that was the time when Mahindra Satyam was overtaken by Take Mahindra due to the industrial audit that was made on them. World Bank that time banned many renowned companies due to financial audit, as well as the industrial relational problem. What is the industrial relation problem? You can talk about the working environment. You can talk about the POSH Act that came into the industrial sector. You can talk about the equal pay system came into the in the corporate sector. So all this is the topic that you can choose. So how will you approach to your supervisor? The mentor who is having the similar kind of genre of work, you will approach to him. The first part, you will provide an abstract that it will have certain aim, it will have certain executive summary of your work, it will talk about that what are the objectives that you're trying to find out, what are the results you're trying to find out. Remember, research methods and methodology is different. Methods are tools and techniques that you're using to gain and collecting the data, but methodology, logos, means when you're finding the solution. So hypothesis will always provide a particular narration which will be either null or alternative, and that you have to prove with chi-square, dispersion, standard deviation, or any other format that is preferable for your work. Third point will be that what will be your review of literature. Now, being an academic content strategist, I have really faced various problems with various companies regarding the fact that review of literature should be from 2010 or 2015. I totally disagree with this, because review of literature means you're reviewing the literature, the people who actually being the fundamentalist or rather the founding fathers of those subjects. You're reviewing their literature. That is the literature that we talk about. But what they're asking is the review of the review of literature, because these things are already reviewed and they are doing just the summarization of, or rather what we can say, the paraphrasing of those review of literature. So make sure that despite of, or if your university say that you have to take only the papers which are available from 2010 or 5, then you have no other choice to gain marks. But for people of veterinary quality, because I worked under such a supervisor of IGNOU, as well as the person who actually supported me with the sanction of the project, because you also need to sanction, right? There is a process. You need to go through the brochure that how you will get your project sanction. Once your supervisor accepts it, you have to also apply for the sanction of a particular department. So that is very crucial, that you provide the exact niche of your work, means the gamut of your work. Then review of literature, you can make a comparison of how, like, most of the time the studies that we do, we try to imitate the Western part, or we have an effect of the colonial era on our Indian society. So make sure that you provide with the Western connotation and compare that empirically with the Indian society. So this comparison is very, very important, because we are still developed. We are second world country. We would have been the first world country by now, but it's going on into the delays. I hope you know what is first world, second world, and third world country. Developing countries are the second world, underdeveloped are the third world, and developed are the first world countries. So thereafter, you make the review of literature. Then comes that what is your limitations of the study, what are your methodologies, like quantitative or qualitative. Even after quantitative and qualitative, whether you're choosing pilot survey. What is a pilot survey? Like the project that you have taken that has not been taken ever again. So, or rather ever before. So that means you're the first person finding the data through field work or observation, or whatever is your method or tool of research that you're using. So thereafter, if your topic doesn't have any literature behind, thereafter that's a pilot survey. Okay, but if you're doing a census one, obviously mention the sources. Sources is very, very important. Figures, if you provide the figures, if you provide the like for example the 5 years plan, what the 5 years plan talks about. If you talk about the census report of subjugation of 73rd and 74th amendment of Panchayati Raj system, how it affected the decision making process when women got involved into Panchayati Raj systems. These are the various topics you can take in development studies. Okay, so that would be your, so what will be your methodology, what will be what are the limitations you might face, because in the research proposal you don't know the limitations yet, but you're assuming that these are the limitations I can face if I do this topic. That you will do, and then you will do the review of literature that you have already done, because before approaching to a supervisor you must have read through some of the books or articles so that you have the idea that what you're going to do. So those things you will be writing, and you will be asking that other references that your supervisor will be helping you out with. Then it comes the methodology that I already told about, then the data interpretation. Now it comes the table, the charts, the interpretation of the data. So what are the data you talk about? Like for example, if you talk about industrial relation, then you have to have a questionnaire. Now whether you are having a questionnaire with open-ended question or a close-ended question. Most of the time when we do Google form, we give close-ended questions. So how you're circulating your question, whether you're doing a field work or not. So these kind of things you have to mention. Then in the proposal you have to write what should be your duration, because that's very important, because you cannot take entire life to complete your project, right? Because we have 5 years of extension doesn't mean we will take the 5 years for doing the project. So duration of your project, sometimes like if I go abroad for my PhD, then in that case I have to also mention about the budget that I require to acquire the data. So that these things are generally required in a research proposal, but for IGNOU you need not to provide the budget and all, because that won't be required. And lastly, the limitations that I talked about, then the interpretation, and then what can be. Now when you're writing a research proposal, you will be writing that what can be a possible conclusion of your topic with, and why you should write the topic and recommend the topic to read for the other people. And then what are the works cited, or rather already you have read and you want to read. That's how you will approach to your supervisor. Now coming to the dissertation part, as I said, the cover page, then the acceptance of your supervisor, then the declaration of that it's the original with your signature, then your acknowledgement again with your signature. Then comes the table of content. Table of content including introduction. Under introduction, you can write the functions, the features, the definitions, you can quote, all those things you can do. Then you can do the second part is discussion. Under discussion, you can do the, if you do anything related to human rights, then you can write about the various rights. If you do something about the sociological schools, you can talk about the fundamentalist schools, you can talk about what are the various critical conflict analysis are there, what are the twofold part that you're taking into in your action. All these things you can write in your discussion paper. Then comes your study area, which area you're studying. Lastly, your methodology of collecting data, your limitations that you have faced, and you have to go for your review of literature, where you have a huge responsibility that you're actually reviewing properly, and that your supervisor must be guiding you with. After that, you come to the analysis of your interpretation. So what are the results you have got? So you will do the table work, you will get the way of writing your interpretation. Every table, pie chart, smart chart should have an interpretation of like figure 1, this thing is interpreting this, so you must write with interpretation. If you have collected data from any authentic site, like you have done RTI, or you have collected data from a police station, you have collected data from any rehab or anything that sort, write the sources. Okay, and thereafter, even if you give a picture, the picture that has been downloaded from the computer, please write the sources. When you are writing the interpretation and concluding your study, do give references, and within the appendices it comes your the vocabs, like the definition of the few words that can be newer to someone. Like someone might not know what is the voracious reader and what is the difference between a vivacious reader. Someone might not know if you have written magnum opus. Magnum opus means something which is brilliantly written and something which is having a huge impact. So if you write any word like magnum opus project of this person, then you have to write that in the vocab over there, appendices. And thereafter, your bibliography. And bibliography, you can, if you're using, there are different style, APA, Harvard, MLA. So mostly when we are not mentioned, we choose Harvard, but if we choose APA, you should have tab to all to your part, and you should have a hanging style of references, and always Times Roman 12 font 1.5. Your heading 1, heading 2, heading 3 should be differently written. All these things should be there in the table format. Now, I can't show these project pages over here because it's going on YouTube, and I'm still the part of the project of the paper. But yes, Abhi, if you're sharing this, the people who want guidance on it, I can talk to them, I can make them share, and that is free of cost, not for any consultation charges are required. It's just helping my friends, all that. And thereafter, references I told you about, and that will end your topic. Make it as precise as possible. Provide the solution of your topic. If you're taking take topic which are effective. Now, once you do this dissertation, don't forget to go for a plagiarism test. There are website, I will be sharing a good website with you, where you will have very lesser amount of money that you have to give for 50 pages of dissertation. If you do, the hourly charges are there, and they're very good plagiarism test authenticity that they give. And ask them for AI similarity. Don't do this mistake, please. ChatGPT gave us Durga Ma's hand, but that is coming within the Turnitin, which is even the BAP of Turnitin, which was before that. So they are giving AI similarity over there in blue marking. So don't do that, okay? Don't just copy paste from ChatGPT. Always don't paraphrase with Quillbolt, with Grammarly. It doesn't work. It just nullify your creativity and innovation that you could put into your work. Okay, so that should be the research proposal, the dissertation format. Several editings might require if your supervisor really wants you to score high, as I'm acknowledged, and sir, this will be going to you as well. I'm not mentioning the name now. After I finish the course, I will definitely acknowledge the same, and I want to get my dissertation published as well. So and also the person in the hierarchy who accepted online because of my retinal detachment, and because for which I'm still suffering, and I'm just working with my one eye. So I'm very, very scared every time I'm feeling the form of the examination, but during the time of examination, I'm really scared that after one day, whether the next day I can appear for the exam, because of the pain that I need to bear within myself. So these are the help I could tell you. Formatting should be very important. Don't mix up the formats. And most importantly that you should do is take a very contemporary subject. And even if you're taking a contemporary subject, you can also take the comparisons with the Western world. Most importantly, you can go to the development sectors. I will be very soon coming up with some of the senses that I'm trying to get with the RTI. That, I am a staunch communist. Totally leftist. Now, what is leftist? During the Surat split, the people who got broken from the Congress party of the moderates, they are the people, peaceful people. Beat me and I will let you beat me in this phase as well. Extremists wanted to be the one we will fight, we will also give back tit for tat, and we'll do it. That's, how the leftists become. But according to leftist and rightist, in the parliament, the ruler party sits in the right hand side and the opposition sits in the left, and that's how it happens. Now you can choose that how colonial period given the effect to our Indian society, because we got parliamentary form of government. But if we would have had bilateral legislature like the American Congress Senate, where they have two-party, Labour and Tory party, one which is getting the ruling area and the one who is the watchdog, I think that would have been one of the best part. But that doesn't mean I support the attack of Russia over the Ukraine, crowning down the 70,000 population into 700, then to 70, where even Indians were dead, So these are all very important part. If you are a part of literature, talk about Michel Foucault, where he talked about government is not a body of social institution, rather it's a mentality of the person who is governing us. The Circulation of Elite or Wilfredo Pareto. If you want to take another topic, you can also choose a topic of how when Afghanistan was overtaken by Taliban Shariati rule and those things. Now that you can make another point. You will get various articles of mine into academia.edu as well as in ResearchGate, which I kept free for download. You can have the references from there, where you will get the data which I did with RTI with the census report and authentically made it published, because those are published with DOI, so you can understand there is no falsification in it. So you can take up the vulnerability of the Syria, the Gaba, the emancipation that we are talking about. You can also just imagine, like, people coming up from political background, people coming up from medical background, take up topic which is within your genre, medical background. That the topic the last time I told, that how midwives became into the zenith of gynecology right now. Because if you remember, the example of the midwife who saved a girl child was being punished as a sanction that she will be raped with the entire member of the village. I'll come to these. This will be my next project, and I am waiting for it to be internationally published. So thereafter, these are the topic I can help you out with. So Abhi, I will say please share this video to your group, and the people who want to ask question about and want to see the format of the project, I can share it with the screen sharing on the WhatsApp. But I can't share the project because I'm still the unpublished project cannot be shared. Plagiarism check if you require, I can also share the link. And don't do ChatGPT. That's the only thing. Please don't do something which won't help you to learn, because education, I know it's degree, you're doing something. There are multiple people who are only pursuing various degrees just to enhance their journey of occupational hierarchy. But do learn something, to get aware about your surroundings, because that will enlighten and provide salvation within yourself. You can write religious bias on both women and men. It doesn't matter that men and women are always fighting. No, it's not that. It's the orthodox and the social construct which is imposed upon the political binaries that cannot get mitigated even today. That's all. if you need the help, phone number is will be given in the description box. You also have my LinkedIn, I think. Okay, Abhi, I will be sharing everything with you. Do that with the group, and I will be sharing this one at the in the WhatsApp. My LinkedIn profile, academia.edu. You will get all my work on women's development, emancipation, WEED, WED, GET. People can also take up paper on WEED, with WI, women in development, women and development, and then gender and development. How you can take intersectionality, you can talk about LGBTQIA+. All these topics you can talk about in development studies. So I think this is helpful because I have to feed my child now, so I'm in really rush. He will start crying, so I just spoke in one breath. If this helps, please contact me anytime. No consultation fee for my colleagues, nothing. Just get good marks, get learnt, and all the best for your exams and everything. And also wish me that this time I also turn up for the examination and I also score something good enough. Thank you so much.